What's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is your boy, Who Dat Davis here for you. And as always, if you don't know, you will know that over here we bleed black and gold until we are dead and cold. Thank y'all so much for joining me for this auspicious, lovely, peaceful Sunday afternoon going into the evening. I hope you guys have already had your dinner, already watched the programs for the day. Me, I've had a pretty chill day. I actually got some cleaning done, believe it or not. Yes, your boy knows how to clean. He gets some cleaning done. I spent all morning getting my laundry done, getting the bathroom cleaned up, getting the hallway vacuumed, getting the room vacuumed up. It's all about the personal hygiene. It makes you feel good about yourself. You know what I mean? And after that, I went I got me some dirty rice. Man, look, when I'm telling you that down here on the coast, we got some pretty good spots. There's a spot down over on Dido Road called Big Mama's. Look, I call it Big Mama's because, you know, ain't no good cooking like Big Mama cooking. You know what I mean? But now there's a spot down Dido Road that serves some really good seafood and some soul food. So we went down there a little earlier today before she closed. Early afternoon, we got us a whole tray, a whole paper tray of dirty shrimp fried rice. I said dirty rice earlier, but it was actually shrimp fried rice. It was actually really good. Could have pulled back on the salt just a little bit, but hey, beggars can't be choosers. It was still good. I eat it any day of the week. I added a little bit of my own little seasoning though. I added a little bit of paprika, for a little extra kick. And then call me crazy, but I tried a little honey. Hear me out. Shrimp fried rice, honey, really? Hey, all I'm gonna say is don't knock it until you try it. But this weekend has been a blessing, man. Not just from the fact that I'm officially back and doing Saints content to interacting with you guys again. I've actually gotten some work done. And what do I mean by that? Well, if you're over there following me on my official Twitter page, you would know that something came in the mail today. Something that I've been waiting on for a while, but it came in a day ahead of time. And shout out to Amazon for being on top of their ship for once. The one time in a while I haven't had an issue with them. Now, what would that one thing be? Well, I'm glad you asked. You know what I told y'all on my first stream back yesterday, that we was going to build this thing back from the ground up? Well, I meant that. I got the microphone, check. Now the next thing we needed was a webcam, something for y'all to see my little ugly mug. And guess what? Guess what? Guess what? I am so happy to inform you that we got it, my man. We got it. We got it. We got it. Look, it's a Ruby HD 1080p webcam. It works well. I've tested it out all day long. This is only for like $23 on Amazon right now. It is a steal. It's on sale for about 50% off. I had to get it before the sale fell through. But this is money well spent so far, and I'm actually really glad that I had the money to get this. Even more so, I still have Amazon Prime. A lot of people don't like Amazon Prime. It's a toss up for me. Sometimes has a good day, sometimes has its bad days, just like anything else. But for this very moment, Amazon Prime came through, got it here a day early. So thank you, Amazon. Thank you for getting this webcam to me. So now everybody down here in my chat can see my ugly mug once again. And this hat, y'all know what this hat is. If you guys have been following me over here on this channel since its inception a few years ago. This is the hat that I've worn on football Sundays. This is a hat I'm going to continue to wear on football Sundays. This hat right here ain't going nowhere. And I got another thing to report. If you guys are going down to the Saints training camp on August 2nd, your boy Who Dat Davis is going to be there live covering the Saints football practice. Yes, sir. Me and the homies got together. I got us some tickets. We're going to get together, going to carpool down there, down into Airline Drive to see the boys live in action. We'll bring the gear. We're going to bring the cameras. We're going to be recording, man. We'll be doing some live reactions to everything. We're going to be documenting everything. And when we get home, is back to work, back to editing all these clips out and getting it on this channel for y'all so y'all can hear my thoughts, my educated opinions on what I saw during the August 2nd football practice. I'm going to be so excited. After like even before and after. Before the practice, we're going to be stopping by somewhere to get some breakfast, and after, before we get back on the road, going down I-10 back to Gulfport, here back at the crib, we're going to be stopping by somewhere. I'm hoping to stop by Draco's. I haven't stopped by Draco's in a while. Like the first time I went there, I was hooked. Man. So I gotta spend back. I gotta see Draco's again. I gotta get that food in my system because I know it's gonna be at least an hour drive from the boot back down to my little, you know what I'm saying, back down to my little cozy cove here down in the Orange Grove area in Gulfport. But with that being said, man, look, I'm happy to see y'all, man. I know I see y'all filing in down there in the comment section from OG Jerry. What's going on, man? Good to see you again. At Rose City, man, I hadn't seen you in a long time. Long time no see, Rose City. Happy to see you, man. Even got some new faces down there. Hurricane Mike. What's going on, Hurricane Mike? First time I'm seeing you. Like I said, welcome to the B&G Breakdown Podcast. It's your boy, Davis here for you. We got a little slogan we rock with down here over here in the B&G. It is, if you don't know, you will know right now. Over here, we bleed black and gold until we are dead and cold. We lock it in down here. We just talk all Saints football, man. All Saints football, rumors, reports. It's going to be an exciting next hour and a half. I can't. It's a blessing, man. But without further ado, all that personal stuff aside. Oh, before I forget, now this is just me. Hey, look. Your boy's no longer on the singles market. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Your boy done found himself a missus. Your boy done found himself a black queen to take care of. Man, I'm blessed. I met her a little while back. We've been chopping it up. Chemistry seeming to clicking well. So far, so good. I'm not gonna shoot the horse in the foot. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna put one foot in front of the other. But one day soon, I'm gonna introduce her. I'm gonna introduce her to y'all. You know what I'm saying? She's not big on football, but we're gonna have to change that for her, y'all. Y'all gonna help me change that for her. Y'all gonna have to help me baptize her in the way of the black and gold. You know what I'm telling you? I'm trying to get her to go to a Saints game. I'm trying to get her to go to a Saints practice. I'm trying to get her up out of bed sooner than 7:00 in the morning. You know what I'm telling you? So I want to need y'all help on that. Now, the time's going to come for that. I'll let y'all know a little later, but you know what I'm saying? But we are family here. She part of the family now. She part of the B&G crew. She watching. She just texted me a little, just like a minute ago. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, when it's time, I'm going to need y'all help. I need y'all to help me get her right. Get her excited about the Saints as we are. You know what I'm saying? That's how we rock over here in the B&G Breakdown Podcast. Now, with that being said, speaking of the Saints, man, there's a lot to cover. Now, yesterday, if you were here, we talked about the Saints quarterback position, the QB battle between Tyler Shough and Spencer Rattler. Now, it's going to be no more important topic than that QB battle because it's the most important position in all sports. We all know that. All right? We've already given our takes. Right now, it's all about the supporting cast now, right? Training camp is right around the corner. There's going to be a lot of guys that are going to be vying for spots. There are battles going around everywhere. It's not just QB position, even though that's going to be the main source where main source of all attention is going to be at. For good reason, there's going to be some other battles too. Things that we might not even consider. And with those battles, there's going to be some guys who are already well established or at least well known or known enough. There are going to be some guys who have already been here that may not be here come the start of the regular season. Surprising, right? No, not really. It happens every season. There's going to be that one surprise cut. It's going to be that one surprise waiver. You know, not too long ago, it was wide receiver A.T. Perry. Y'all know A.T. Perry from his little short time here. Y'all know I was high on him. When I went to a game, the Saints against the Giants, a little while back, A.T. Perry was my guy. I loved it coming out of Wake Forest. Like I said, I know by the end of the preseason last season, my boy was on the waiver wire going over to Denver with Sean Payton, and he didn't even get on their active roster. So obviously the league knew something that I didn't. But from when I saw A.T. Perry, I thought that dude was going to be that guy. He was going to be a contributor. I ain't say he's going to be no breakout star, no main star, no JJ, no Jamar Chase, no nothing like that. But A.T. Perry was a guy that had ball production during his time at Wake Forest. You know what I'm telling you? So I thought that guy was going to be a guy that can be a role player, a contributor with his 6'4" frame, being able to win those 50-50 balls, those contested catches, that X receiver that the Saints have needed since Michael Thomas. I thought A.T. Perry was going to be that guy, but apparently the league had other plans. Now, this year is going to be something different. There'll be another handful of guys that we're going to be covering today that may or may not even be on the Saints roster come the start of the regular season when the Saints host the Arizona Cardinals at home on September 7th. There's a lot from the offensive side to the defensive side. We're going to cover the main guys, and we're going to cover some other guys that's not even mentioned here on my captions here in my studio. You know what I mean? So let's go ahead and get it right to it, man. Y'all here for one reason only. Let's get down with the breakdown. Now, obviously, like I said, we've already talked about Tyler Shough and Spencer Rattler. If you haven't seen my last live, go check it out. It's down there in the channel, in my live category. Go check that out. Go leave your thoughts down in the comment section. Let's have a discussion about it. Now we're going to be talking about the running back position. The running back position, we all know, AK runs the place. It's undisputed. RB1 for life. Future Saints Hall of Famer. We get that. But right now, Alvin Kamara is 30 years old. He's not getting any younger. Now, statistically, he had his best season of his career. Nearly broke 100 yards. Or not 100, 1,000 yards last season. If not for that one nagging injury towards the tail end of the season, he would have cracked that 1,000-yard season for the first time in his career. Now, AK's not sweating it, but I am. All right, he should have had that. Now, I blame Dennis Allen just as much as the makeshift offensive line due to injury. There are a lot of things that went into it, but at the end of the day, AK is AK. He's going to ball out. He's going to get his touch. He's going to get his touches. He's going to get his dues. He's going to get his respect. But what about after AK? Not just even for this coming season, right? We're talking about for beyond the season, for 2026 and beyond that. There's got to be a succession plan. There's got to be a succession plan in place, just like how when AK came in, how Mark Ingram came in, those guys took the mantle from Adrian Peterson. Right? It's got to be like that. Who is going to be that next successor? Who's going to be that guy who's going to step up as RB2 for this year and maybe even carry the mantle as the AK is going to be gone and hang us his cleats? We don't know when that's going to be, but it's going to be sooner rather than later. Who's that guy going to be? We have no idea. But there is one guy who was drafted in the 3rd round, just like AK, you know what I'm saying, who came out of TCU with a lot of hype around him for his play style being similar to AK in many ways. He's really elusive. He's got great contact balance. He's underrated in the passing game. He's not used much in that department, but he's very much built with that skill set to handle those responsibilities. Y'all know who he is by now, but if you don't know, we're talking about Kendre Miller here. Kendre Miller, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, even Velus Jones, even the rookie running back out of Kansas, Devin Neal. We talk about all those guys, right? But the main guy right now is Mr. Man himself, Kendre Miller. Is it Miller time or is it Miller Lite? All right, let's talk about it.
Went to a luncheon honoring Drew Brees today at noon. Meanwhile, breaking the tackle, still on his feet, up to the 40-yard line goes Kendre Miller. And then winning Super Bowl 50 with that great defense, and Von Miller is the MVP. And nice run here, gain of 16 for Kendre Miller.
Hopefully he'll be all right.
Ball at the 37-yard line. Keep it on the ground. Nice run here.
For Spencer Rattler at all costs.
I just got a text. Christina said we look good in the fog, in the haze. This is Kendre Miller on the return, and Miller puts a move on, and Kendre Miller all the way up across the 40.
And cover up some of these wounds right now until their starters get back.
Derwin James is blitzing on the run, and fighting through is Kendre Miller.
Kendre Miller breaks a tackle in the backfield. Miller going sideways. He's got the first down.
Look, Kendre Miller is a guy with a lot of hype coming out of TCU. We all know that. What you just saw was potential glimpses of what Kendre Miller can be if he can stay on the field. Since being drafted out of TCU, Kendre Miller has had a slew of soft tissue injuries. Now, the title of this segment right now is it Miller time or is it Miller Lite? Will Kendre Miller finally put it all together and cement himself as RB2 of the Saints this season? He's got all the tools. He got all the tools in the toolbox, but it don't matter if he can't get himself out on the construction field and put in that work. Now, Kendre Miller has a fresh start under head coach Kellen Moore, the quarterback's coach, the offensive coordinator Doug Nussmeier. Everything's been wiped clean of the stench that was Dennis Allen. Kendre Miller has been given a clean slate, a fresh start under this new regime, this new era, and he's looking to make the most of it. What do we know about Kendre Miller, and why is it so frustrating that Kendre Miller can't seem to stay on the field? Because during his time at TCU, Kendre Miller didn't have these slew of injuries. He had a clean bill of health, which was a major upside to why the Saints drafted him, to why we were so excited for him to be here. We thought it was finally a turn of the page for the Saints scouting department in terms of finally getting away from guys who have a slew of injuries, a receipt for injuries that they've dealt with throughout their collegiate career. Kendre Miller didn't have that, except for that one game, that championship game, where he injured his knee and needed surgery. And since then, he just has to be able to recover. But during the times that he's been in the game, most recently, if you look back, not even this past season, but the season before, in the season-ending game against the Atlanta Falcons, Kendre Miller showed you what he can be when he gets his bell call. Kendre Miller is a guy who can make guys miss in a hole. He can get skinny, or if he needs to run over somebody, he has that strength that in that lower body to truck motherfuckers. He has the strength to, shed off tackles. He can create his own mismatches. He's a guy that can be a dynamic weapon in the passing game if they actually draw up plays for him. Kendre Miller has all those tools. And Kendre Miller's talked about this in length with Saints media during OTAs, during minicamp. Kendre Miller is a guy who, for all intents and purposes, he should have the season that many of us expect him to have. Personally, I think he does. Will he have a 1,000-yard season? Most likely not. I don't think so. But if he can give you 600 yards on the season, 700 yards on the season, anything above 500, I think it's a plus given what he's had to work through his first 3 seasons. Now, with that being said, I know it's a fresh start for Kendre Miller, right? That's what the official words from Kellen Moore and Doug Nussmeier, and that's what they've all said. But there's also an underlying truth that he needs to get it together quickly. Otherwise, there's another guy waiting in the wings, ready to take his spot. And that guy's name is Devin Neal, Lawrence's favorite son, coming out of Kansas. Now, he was taken in the later rounds, opposed to his fellow compatriots and Hampton and Scatterboo, who went to New York. Guys like that, they went within the first 3-4 rounds. He was taken within, I believe, round 6 or maybe late round 5. But with Devin Neal, you're getting not only just styles of AK, you're getting the physicality of Mark Ingram on top of that. Y'all know how good Mark Ingram was when he finally showed Sean Payton that he can tote the rock. He can carry an offense. That's what Devin Neal is, and he's waiting in the wings. Now, Devin Neal, I teased it yesterday, but Devin Neal's had like an up and down, showcase so far in terms of displaying his ability. When I mentioned that there was times when Devin Neal is on either side of Groots when they split. During OTAs and minicamp, the New Orleans Saints will split up their guys on one side of the field to the north and another side of the field to the south. To the north is where the starters and their immediate backups are, like the second strings. That's where they go on the north side. On the south side, you've got your third strings, your fourth strings, and guys who most likely going to be on the practice squad. Devin Neal's seen time on both ends. Now, we don't see Devin Neal much in the passing game, except certain passes to the flat, things of this nature, all within a 5-yard radius. But from what we have been told about Devin Mills catching radius, it's a lot bigger than a lot of people think it is. And he's got soft hands. Now, he has to be consistent with his catches, but he has the ability to make those tough catches if and when a situation calls for it, which is a very encouraging thing to hear out of a young rookie like this, given what's at stake for that running back position. Once AK decides to finally, hang up the cleats and one day go into the Saints Hall of Fame. Next thing you know, you got Clyde Edwards-Helaire coming back home to the boot during his unfortunate time in Kansas City. We all know Clyde Edwards-Helaire, part of the infamous 2019 LSU team. Clyde Edwards-Helaire was a big part of why that was such a success. Look no further than the game he had against Alabama. When that went down to the literal last second, Clyde Edwards-Helaire broke off a game-breaking 70-plus yard run to end things for the Tide, and bring up a W for the Tigers. He had that skill set. He still does. And during his first season with the Kansas City Chiefs, it looked like he was going to be that next big guy we talk about for 4, 5, maybe even 6 years. Up there with the Alvin Kamaras, with the Saquon Barkleys of the world, with the Dalvin Cooks and the Aaron Jones of the world, with the David Montgomerys, hell, with the Christian McCaffreys. He was going to be in that type of conversation. It looked like it. But that one injury he sustained, it derailed almost all of his momentum to the point to where it was difficult for him to recover. On top of the fact he had trouble in the pass blocking game. He couldn't pick up blitzes very well. He lost his shiftiness with being able to get skinny, going through A gaps, going through B gaps. When Isaiah Pacheco came in, he brought that level of physicality that no longer was present with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Next thing you know, Clyde Edwards-Helaire gets the job, never looks back. And then he goes down, which makes you think, hey, you know what? Clyde Edwards-Helaire is right here. Let's give him another chance. You would think, but no. They brought back a guy who preceded both of them. Preceded both Isaiah Pacheco and CEH and Kareem Hunt. And look what Kareem Hunt was able to do in just half a season back with the Kansas City Chiefs. It was that good. But it was just that damning on that same level for CEH. And now he's here in New Orleans. He finished his 2024 campaign with the Saints. He signed to the practice squad. He got caught up for a couple games. He showed flashes of potential during the season-ending game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He showed that he still has that ability to shed tackles and get yards after contact that we were so accustomed to seeing from him during his time at LSU and his first season with Kansas City. Those were things that we were looking for, that we were encouraged to see. So when the first move that Kellen Moore made when he got hired was that he brought back Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be a game-changing move, but as far as a role player is concerned, CEH looks to capitalize on that opportunity. He's just as eager to play in front of his hometown, the team he idolized growing up, a team he played not just even a few miles up the road from him when he was in Baton Rouge. Y'all know how it is for these LSU guys when they come home, they play for the Saints, they want to show out in front of the team, in front of the crowd that they were part of during their younger years, their teenage years. We're going into college. Tyrann Mathieu, Foster Moreau, Will Clapp, and now CEH looks to be part of that same mold. Now you got Velus Jones coming from Chicago. Now, that obviously there's not a lot to be made of Velus Jones. He was a wide receiver in college. He came into the league. He got switched to running back. You know, he has some skill. He's a good player, but it's going to be an uphill battle compared to these other two guys, or the three guys that are ahead of him. Look no further than Xavier Valladay. His skill set's kind of similar to Velus Jones. And look where he's at right now. He's on another team's roster. So I don't expect much out of Velus Jones. So this is a three-way race until proven otherwise. This is a three-way race between Kendre Miller, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Devin Neal. Now, what is being RB2 encompass? What does that mean? It means you have to complement AK style. And we all know what AK style of running is. Deceptive strength. Burst. His burst speed, getting through the hole, skinning through the A gaps, being able to catch out of the backfield. Now, his weakness, he's not much of a pass blocker, but he's willing, he's able. So when it comes to a running back 2, when it comes to what we predict what Kellen Moore is going to want to do for this offense, which we all know is tailoring to the strengths of his personnel, you got to be a complementary piece, which means where AK is fast and elusive, you got to be able to get those tough yards, those tough 2 yards, those tough 3 yards when it comes to gotta have situations. You got to be able to get dirty in the hole in terms of picking up blitzers, you know, standing up to linebackers or slot corners, blitz again hot off the edge. You have to be able to hold your ground. That's what Jamal Williams was originally brought in to do. And he showed like he could do that during his first preseason game with the Saints against the Kansas City Chiefs, but it didn't ever really materialize like that. It's one thing, like any running back can be fast. You can have all the physical tools in the world if you don't have the willingness to do what others don't necessarily see or praise in the moment. You got to be able to sacrifice your body to protect your quarterback, give him those extra 2, sometimes 3 seconds to scan the field and make a play. Sometimes in those situations when it's less than 2 minutes and you're up by 3 or you're up by 2, up by 1, and it's third down, and you got to have that first down to really milk the clock and ice it for your team. You got to be able to have that grit. You got to be able to have that toughness. AK is one thing, but what if AK suffers another injury? Who's going to be able to step up? Who can we count on in those situations when things get tough, when things are just dire? Who's going to be that guy? Who's going to prove to us that it's time to consider AK like AK's successor, AK's heir apparent? Because as far as I'm concerned, there is no heir apparent on this roster right now. There's potential, sure. Potential can only get you so far. Potential doesn't get you a wild card. Potential doesn't get you a winning season. Potential doesn't get you your first playoff win in almost 7 years, 8 years. Well, 5 years at this point. Your first playoff win in 5 years. Potential doesn't give you that narrow victory. That's a make or break to being in the postseason or not. Your team is only as good as the players behind you, behind your starters. All starters are not going to see 100% of the snaps throughout a 17-game streak. It's not happening, especially not with the Saints. Yeah, they hired a new sports science guy that's supposed to be good, that's supposed to help with those soft tissue injuries. But it's going to take a miracle and the hand of God for him to be able to turn expectations around when it comes to health of this team. That includes AK and what he's put his body through, what he sacrificed his body for this team. That RB2's got to be that guy that says, you know what? Hold this. I got you. I'm going to get this for you. I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to do that for you. And you can't do that with just potential. And you're sitting on the sideline because you can't get on the field because your hamstrings are string cheese. You can't do that. So Kendre Miller has to prove to me, he has to prove to everybody that he has what it takes to do that. Yeah, it's good that he's confident. I'm not going to take that from him. We all know what he can be. But I've already heard this song and dance. We have already heard this song and dance. It's time to put up or shut up at this point. Yeah, he's already heard all the noise. Nick Underhill put out a piece a couple months ago about Kendre Miller's mindset and all the outside noise that he's heard. He's already acknowledged that there's pressure from the Who Dat Nation coming down his throat. It's one thing to feel it. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do to shut us up? What are you going to do to have us buy your jersey off the NFL shop? What are you going to do to have us lined up in front of you during training camp practices, during post games, for you to sign our stuff, for you to sign, for kids to have to sign their footballs, to sign their jerseys, to sign their Saints toys? What are you going to do to earn the trust and the love of the Who Dat Nation, Kendre? What did you plan to do about it? And Clyde Edwards-Helaire, you're a guy who knows what it takes to win. From your time in LSU to Kansas City, you've been in winning cultures. You know what it takes. What are you going to do? You lost your job to Isaiah Pacheco, and we had a chance to get it back. They didn't even look in your direction. They brought back Kareem Hunt, a guy who we all know has a slew of issues off the field. They were more keen to trust someone like that than someone who they invested so much draft capital in 2020. What are you going to do? What are you going to do to show Kansas City, to show your doubters, your fans, that you're still that guy that put LSU on his back to clutch a dub and keep their season undefeated? What are you prepared to do about that? I know you're excited. Good. You should be pissed off too. You should be angry. You should be able to take it out on opposing defenses. Make them regret stepping into the A gap with you. What are you prepared to do, CEH? Devin Neal, Lawrence's favorite son. There was a lot of hype around you, me included. I've seen what you can do. I've seen what you did against Colorado. I've seen what you've done against ranked teams with respectable defenses. I know what you're capable of. I also know that a lot of people are comparing you to Jamal Williams, that your top end speed just isn't enough to translate to success at the NFL level. That you can't hang with the big boys when the lights are brightest. What are you prepared to do? Are you going to show up? Are you going to show out? Are you going to be that next gem that no one was high on? That they took you low fifth, maybe sixth round? Like, show me something. Show us something that gets us excited. Show us why they referred to you as Lawrence's favorite son. Come game days, I should see you in the backfield get ready to make someone else your kid. You should be making someone else your child. You should be their daddy. That's what I want to see. Can you do that? Time's running out for all three of these guys. Time's running out in the worst way. 2 of these guys only have this year to prove that they have what it takes. Maybe 3, considering where they're at with Devin Neal in terms of Kellen Moore and this coaching staff. Because to take you 6th round, I'd be pissed off. I'd be going at them. I'd be probably showing this is what happens when you bring me in the game. Make them take notice of you. I need all of that. AK should not be the only guy that this Saints team can count on when it comes to gotta have his situations. He can't do everything, even though he's very much capable of doing it, even at 30 years old. If y'all can't keep up with a 30-year-old at this point, who's known for having a consistent top 5, top 7 in scrimmage yards across the entire league, if y'all can't keep up with him, I can't see a future for y'all. Not on this team, maybe any other. Put up or shut up is here. Show us something that, okay, that's like, okay, we can build off that going into next season, going into 2020, going into 2026. Put up or shut up time. You know what I'm saying? You gotta show that you have what it takes to do it all. And speaking of do it all, we'll take a little break real quick. We're gonna be talking about another guy who's known for doing it all. A guy who's linked to go to another team in the AFC and reunite with him. Y'all know who I'm talking about already. If you don't, it is Taysom Hill. Give us a few minutes. We'll be right back.
Went to a luncheon honoring Drew Brees today at noon. Meanwhile, breaking a tackle, still on his feet, up to the 40-yard line goes Kendre Miller, and then winning Super Bowl 50.
I mean, he's a big, thick, strong dude, so he's got that fluidity with that power, rare mixture.
You change from him to Taysom Hill, who flicks a tackle and powers his way across the 46-yard line.
I'm telling you what, he is just one of those dudes that is a problem for defenses.
He picked up
as that big offensive tackle / tight end for the Saints.
So it's Hill out of the shotgun, looking to run it in. And he does. Touchdown. Taysom Hill. He was everywhere during that Saints possession, all over the field.
Taysom Hill time when you get down into the red zone. But watch Adam Prentice. They love running this power O with the quarterback, and Prentice just boom, clears the way, pancakes his guy, and gets Taysom Hill in there for the touchdown. Again, very good drive by the Saints offense. Dennis Allen was overruled by a certain quarterback that handed it off for Jamal's touchdown.
Who's now a Cleveland Brown. Here's Taysom Hill running hard into the end zone for his 2nd touchdown today.
Just take a look at the offensive line. I don't even want to circle it. You just watch how they're getting off the ball and they're going one-on-one with everybody. Nobody there to stop Taysom Hill. This is just a great.
Taysom Hill, man, since 2018, since he came here from the Green Bay Packers, Taysom Hill has been a guy that's been clutch moment after clutch moment. From his time under Sean Payton to saving the career of Dennis Allen for a couple games to making Darren Rizzi look like that he could be the heir apparent head coach for the New Orleans Saints. From throwing football, from throwing touchdown passes to catching touchdown passes, to running in touchdown carries, to blocking kicks, to blocking punts. This guy was Travis Hunter before Travis Hunter came into the league. The only thing is he never worked on the defensive side of the ball. This is the OG. This is the OG Travis Hunter right here. Taysom Hill has created memorable moment after memorable moment. And for very, very good reason, we are going to be forever grateful for Taysom Hill and what he's done. Even though he wanted to play quarterback, he's been on record saying many times he believes he could be a starting quarterback in this league. Now, it obviously didn't work out that way. There was a time when I was just getting into this whole media thing. It was going to the preseason games in 2019, 2020 that I thought Taysom Hill could carry this offense, the Saints offense, into the future. I really thought that. But then I matured. Now I understood that there were things that Taysom Hill just can't do that is required of an NFL quarterback. He can't process. He can't consistently make the right throw, make the right decision. But what he can do is make plays. He's selfless. He's team first mentality. He's a quiet guy, but when it comes to Taysom Hill, a lot of guys listen to him whenever he opens his mouth because he's earned that respect. Now, Taysom Hill's up there in age. These last couple of seasons, this team's been heavily reliant on Taysom to give him that spark. And that's just not going to cut it no more. As much as we love Taysom, we all know that the time for a Taysom Hill-centered offense, it's over with. Yeah, sure, sprinkle some in every now and again. But when times are tough, when things are down, you should not be taking out your starting quarterback and putting in Taysom Hill just for something different. NFL defensive coordinators have caught up to what Taysom Hill is able to do. Now, some have a hard time stopping it, even though they know it's coming, because that's a whole different ball game. But what's being asked of Taysom right now at his age, his body can no longer handle it. The last 3 seasons, he suffered serious injuries. Starting way back in 2021. Taysom can't do it like that no more. And it would be selfish and disingenuous, not to mention just flat out lazy, if you continue with this Taysom trend. That you put him in every position and help him and pretty much expect him to succeed. It don't work like that no more, at least as far as the Saints go. It's no longer winning them games that matter. Now, that's not saying he's still not valuable. Taysom Hill has plenty of value to teams who need a guy to fill in multiple positions, cut down on roster spots, fill in those roster spots for someone else, bring in someone else that would otherwise be on the practice squad. Offensive minds would salivate at the chance of having a guy like Taysom, or right now having a guy like Travis Hunter who could play offense and defense, or having a guy like those two, the do-it-all guys who are eager to show everyone that this game can be played at a different level and in a different style. And there's no better way for Taysom to continue to show that he is valued in such a capacity than reuniting him with a guy that initially signed him to the Saints roster back in 2018 when he was let go of the Packers. Taysom Hill recently was rumored to be a target for the Denver Broncos and Sean Payton, a potential reuniting, a potential remarriage of those two has been reported. According to my recent reports here from HeavySports.com, this right here was posted just in June, not even 2 full weeks ago, June 25th, by Mr. Tony Adam. With Hill starting his last couple seasons, Sean Payton is looking at signing Taysom Hill via trade, or trading for Taysom Hill after some evaluations on where he is medically is conducted. Here's a quote from Tony from HeavySports.com. With Hill going into age 35 campaign, he still needs time to work his way back from his serious knee injury that could limit his elite athleticism. Rebuilding Saints may opt to forge ahead with their Swiss Army knife for the first time since 2016. The cash-strapped Saints may find it more palpable to get both salary cap relief, because he does count for a lot of the salary cap. That's why there's a lot of controversy right now with Taysom Hill in terms of, is he going to see the field this year, or is this the year that they finally move on? Those questions still have yet to be answered, but we should get those answers sooner rather than later. To continue here, Mr. Tony says the cash-strapped Saints may find it more palatable to get both salary cap relief. New Orleans will receive $10 million in cap savings in exchange for $8 million, and only $8 million in dead money, and roster space for youthful talent under new head coach Kellen Moore, while a contending team will be willing to pay Taysom Hill, adequate money while being patient with his recovery, as they can still benefit from signing the dynamic weapon. No one knows Taysom Hill better than Sean Payton, the guy who believed that this guy could be one of the all-time great quarterbacks of the league at one point, better than Tim Tebow and things of that nature. Sean Payton's doing his homework. Whether he actually pulls the trigger or not remains to be seen. But this is not the first time that Taysom Hill has been reported to be linked to the Denver Broncos. These questions, these rumors, they started back even as early as April, between April and now June. Hell, maybe even before that if I did a little more digging. But there's a lot of question marks on whether or not this is Taysom Hill's final look in a black and gold uniform. And for me, it would not be the worst thing in the world. And I'm sure Falcon fans will be happy that another Falcon killer will be out of the NFC South. Because Drew Brees is gone. He's been their daddy for the longest time. And Taysom Hill's been like that cool uncle. That cool uncle that always acts like the second father. Taysom has had the Falcons' number since he's gotten here. They may not always win games, but he's won more than he's lost. And more than a quarter of the time, it's because that man wearing the number 7 jersey has put BTA, belt to ass. I'm sure they're going to be real, real happy to see Taysom Hill go with Sean Payton to the AFC, so he is out of their hair. They can stop growing gray hairs. Oh, but don't misunderstand, Falcon fans. If he does end up leaving, the belt to ass ain't gonna stop. Lest y'all forget, y'all's wide receiver 1, Drake London, he's following in the steps of y'all boy Julio Jones. And what I mean by that, y'all know what I mean. He has more fumbles against the Saints than touchdown receptions. Drake London has 3 fumbles to 1 touchdown pass. One touchdown catch, excuse me. So don't think it's over. Oh, no. This asshole is going to be continuing to the day we draw our last breath on this planet Earth. As long as we in this division, ain't no success going to be coming to y'all. It ain't going to happen. I don't care if it's Drew Brees. I don't care if it's Taysom Hill. The next person that puts BTA is going to be doing it for another generation plus. And then his generation plus after that. It's going to continue, man. So I might as well go ahead and get comfortable right now. All right? All right. That being said, back to my boy Taysom. Will Sean Payton pull the trigger on Taysom Hill? Like I just said, remains to be seen. I want it to happen because I believe it's time for the Saints to turn the page. Finally get away from what made the Saints great under Sean Payton. Since Sean Payton left, things have not been the same. They've tried so hard to hold on to what was instead of letting go and turn it to what could be. They try to hold on to the successful culture that was built under Drew Brees and Sean Payton. But unbeknownst to Mickey Loomis, with that dementia of his setting in, that culture is no longer the culture that is here. There is no culture. There is no Sean Payton culture without Sean Payton. There is no Sean Payton, Drew Brees culture without Drew Brees and Sean Payton. It's over, and it's okay. Ain't no reason to be scared. With this new head coach, with this young offensive mind, who you yourself, when you stood on that podium, you, Mickey Loomis, you have said that you're going to do everything in your power to be behind Kellen Moore and give him everything that he needs to be successful. You said those words. If he decides that the best course of action going forward for them to succeed is to let Taysom Hill go, I better not hear any complaints. We don't want to hear no complaints. Yes, give Taysom his flowers. When Drew Brees was struggling in the 2019 postseason against the Minnesota Vikings, it was Taysom that put the Saints on his back and kept them in the fight, forced in overtime. Now, ultimately, they lost the game, but they wouldn't have been in that position to begin with without Taysom. Taysom's delivered memorable moments, like a deep bomb to Rashid Shaheed during Shaheed's rookie season against the Atlanta Falcons. What about in 2021? Season opener, Saints versus Falcons on the road in Georgia. Taysom putting belt to ass. Or Thursday night, back in 2019, Taysom putting belt to ass. That won the New Orleans Saints the NFC South title for a fourth consecutive season. Or third consecutive season, excuse me. It's been like that. What about 2018? On the road against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Saints were down. They were getting ready to get the ball back. They needed a spark. In comes Taysom with the block punt that turned the momentum in favor of the Saints. And it forever stayed with them until they clutched the dub. And they ultimately got the number 1 seed. That wouldn't have happened without Taysom in that moment. He's done it all. He's sacrificed his dream of being the NFL quarterback for the New Orleans Saints, who have given him a reason to be happy, a reason to, like, a place to belong. A lot of us are going to hold number 7 jerseys for the rest of our lives. We're hanging them up in the rafters. He deserves a place in that Saints Hall of Fame with Drew Brees, with Cameron Jordan, with AK. He's earned that respect. But right now, I believe it's time to let that man go. And it's not a bad thing. You've done everything you possibly could with Taysom. Can you still get mileage out of him? Absolutely. You can get plenty of good plays from him still. He's still got some physicality to his game. He can still give you plenty at a tight end position in the passing game. You want to run him out of the backfield? Sure. But the volume in which you're asking him to do that, it has to be severely reduced. You got to get some younger blood in there, some fresh bodies. You're asking this man for too much at his age of 35. To the point where I'm personally concerned that he might sustain one serious injury that may derail the rest of his career. And I don't want to see Taysom go out like that. At least not in the black and gold. Taysom deserves a chance to play for a contender as well. Let's just be frank. With all the stuff he's been asked to do for this organization since 2018, at the very least, he should be able to sniff the postseason once or twice before he eventually calls it a career. And even though his loyalty is to the team, not just the coach, a part of me still believes that he at least deserves to play with the guy who gave him his big break in the National Football League in the first place. He deserves to play for Sean Payton at least one season before he hangs it up. Give him his thank yous. Give him his flowers. That should be part of his farewell speech when it's time to write it. You know what I mean? But that's just me, though. Before we go to the next segment, look, once again, I want to thank everybody that's tuning in right now. We up to 16. That's more than double than what we had yesterday. I'm telling y'all, we doing it from the ground up proper. We got some new guys down here. Carolina Panthers guy. Look, I appreciate you coming in, man. Slim South, Hurricane Mike still here. Everybody else showing up, showing out. Look, man, I appreciate y'all. This is love, especially from an NFC South rival, CPG. I appreciate y'all. Hey, look, Bryce Young did his thing towards the latter end of the season. And personally, and I'm pretty sure a lot of Saints fans can attest to this, thank you. Thank you for beating us in the second game. Y'all got rid of Dennis Allen for us. Y'all inevitably got rid of Derek Carr for us. You got rid of two of our biggest headaches in just one afternoon game. So we love y'all. We're going to pay y'all back for that. We always pay it forward. When we put BTA, when we put belt to ass, when we get right, we're going to be thinking of y'all. It's going to be all love and respect. But we appreciate y'all. Y'all got something good going on over there. I'm still mad y'all took Ted McMillan from us. I still wanted that boy out of Arizona. But I can't be mad that the Panthers got Ted McMillan, man. He finally gets a true alpha number one receiver. Bryce Young should only get that much better. And the better Bryce Young gets, the better the Panthers get. The better the Panthers get, the better the NFC South gets. The NFC South needs its respect back. We commanded the 20 teams. From 2010 to 2020, we commanded all the respect. Make the NFC South great again. No, I'm not being plain of words to that orange man up there. All right? I'm not with that. I'm just saying I want the NFC South to be great. I need our respect back. All right? So if the Panthers can do that, I'm all for it. Now if the Falcons can get worse, boy, that's heaven set right there. I want the Falcons to taste all the salt, all the tears, all the pain, all the misery for as long as I live. You know what I'm telling you? Man, oh man, oh man. Look, it's do or die. If y'all choose to go with Taysom, if y'all choose to stick it out with him, this season should be do or die for Taysom. In terms of how much does he have left? How much can he give you? If he still has a little more in the tank, squeeze it. If he can't, it's time to turn the page, man, for real. It's time to be done with it. Done with it all. It should be done right now. But what do I know? But like I said, it's do or die. But speaking of do or die, look, there's another guy on the defensive side of the ball. Surprisingly, his time may be up in New Orleans. Now, this guy right here, he came from Kansas City. Just like CEH, just like Tyrann Mathieu. This guy's been a spark of energy for the New Orleans Saints since he's gotten here. He has never been shy of ripping this team, but somehow he gets a lot of hate. I don't know why. I personally love him. There was one time I saw him on the offensive side of the ball. I was like, is that who I think it is? I shouted it from the top of my lungs in the Caesar Superdome. I got a lot of laughs out of that. But this guy, he's a high-energy guy. He's a guy that can give you a spark whenever he does make a play. Yeah, I know exactly who I'm talking about. I talk about the Binkster, Big Bink, Colin Saunders. A quick break. We'll go and talk about my boy Colin Saunders and what the future is for him in that defensive line room.
Smith-Schuster, and there he is, Colin Saunders. And he took it out. Big Colin rumbling, and out across the 35. And his brother Cameron's got to be pumped. He made the hit on Kelsey, and then on the ball out of the arms of Smith-Schuster. Smith-Schuster, and there he is, Colin Saunders. And he took it out. Big Colin rumbling, and out across the 35. And his brother Cameron's got to be pumped. He made the hit on Kelsey, and then on the ball, out of the arms of Smith-Schuster.
Look, Colin Saunders, since the time he got here, has been nothing but high energy, high stakes all the time. You see him all over Twitter, repping the team, calling out anybody who comes at him with the disrespect. Colin Saunders is a guy who played running back during his time in high school, and then he switched to D tackle through his collegiate career. He's had plenty of success with the Kansas City Chiefs. He's brought a winning pedigree to the defensive side of the ball. He's brought a sense of identity. He's got surprisingly quick athleticism. During his first time here, when this defensive line was supposedly remade, there was so much hype, and he was a primary reason why. But the reason why I'm questioning whether or not Big Bank is going to get big bounced out of New Orleans, it's not so much to do with his play. It's not so much him. It's more of who the New Orleans Saints brought in from a trade of Devon Godshaw to the drafting of Vernon Broughton out of Texas in the 3rd round. Now, y'all know I'm a Texas boy. All right, hooker. All right, if I got any Texas fans in here with me, hey, put them horns up. Y'all know that boy the truth. He didn't get the respect he was due because he was playing next to Collins. But y'all know that boy can play. All right, but listen, when Brandon Staley was brought in, we already knew right then and there, that they were going to be shifting from a 4-3, 4-2 nickel to a 3-4. There's going to be an emphasis on stopping the run. Devon Godshaw, he gives you that. He's not just a big body that can play the 3 tech or the 1 tech or the 0 tech as a nose tackle. This guy is able to shed blocks, command gaps, be gap sound, take on double teams, and still make a play. And they got great value for Devon Godshaw on top of that. I have a hard time imagining Devon Godshaw being the guy that doesn't make this roster, given what Brandon Staley likes to do with his defensive linemen. And then you got Vernon Broughton, a guy who was drafted in the 3rd round out of the University of Texas. Now, I can tell you what Vernon Broughton's going to bring. This guy basically brings everything that Colin Saunders already brings with just a fresh body, with quicker athleticism, who can play the run just as well as the pass. Vernon Broughton is a guy who you would look at and think, is that Colin Saunders just a little slimmer? If y'all don't believe me, y'all can go look at his tape. I might be inclined to do a film review of Vernon Broughton myself here in the coming days and compare the two of them just so y'all can see. But Vernon Broughton gives you everything Colin Saunders does on a cheaper contract. Not to mention he already has ties with the new Saints defensive lineman coach, Bo Davis, who was also coming here from the University of Texas. So Vernon Broughton has an inside track. And if Vernon Broughton and Devon Godshaw both make the final cuts, who else could Colin Saunders potentially beat to earn a shot on this team? You're definitely not beating out Cam Jordan or Carl Granderson. Cam Jordan's legacy is cemented here until he wants to hang up the cleats. Carl Granderson gives you consistent production. especially a guy who was undrafted coming out of Wyoming. Chase Young just signed a 3-year extension. And he's looking like he's being groomed to be the next guy behind Cam or maybe behind Carl Granderson. Chase Young led the Saints last year in the pressure rate and total pressures. And he got rewarded with a pretty respectable contract for his career. And that's saying a lot for him. His first full season, he didn't suffer an injury. And now he's even more removed from that knee injury he suffered the year before. He's able to capitalize on making sure that he proves himself and his front office right by investing in him. So Chase Young is most likely going to make this roster. And then you've got John Ridgeway, who the Saints traded for during the middle of last season with the Washington Commanders. And then obviously there's Nathan Shepard, who gives you more in the run game than obviously in the passing game. Those are your really two realistic options of who you can compete with. But even then, it's going to be an uphill battle because as it stands, here's the following defensive lineman that's going to – I have a strong feeling about making this team. Cam, Carl Granderson, Chase Young, Brian Brzee, Vernon Broughton, Devon Godshaw. And then these last three, Nathan Shepard, who's going to be that eighth guy? Who's going to be that eighth guy, that rotational guy? It's between Big Bink, John Ridgeway. I know I said Nathan Shepard, but Nathan Shepard too. Now, you would think Colin Saunders has the inside track when it comes to, his pedigree, his ability to he comes from a winning culture. He's a locker room guy. Everybody seems to love Big Bink. Ain't nothing wrong with his character. I certainly don't hate him. I love him. The guy reps the city just as much as anybody. Just as much as the next guy that we want to see rep the city. But as far as what's been done so far and who's in that defensive room, this defensive lineman room, it's a tough hill battle. I can't 100% guarantee that Colin Saunders is going to make this roster. Man, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough hill battle. And I'm not the only one that thinks this. Slim South 504. What's going on, my boy? My man Slim right here says Saunders is the odd man out. So it's not just me that's just coming out and just saying this for the heck of it. Those of us who know football can smell that something ain't right when it comes to Colin Saunders' situation, Big Bing situation. Now, if I had it my way, I don't really trust John Ridgeway. He didn't really give you much after you traded for him. He didn't make your defensive line better after you traded for him. And Nathan Shepard is the one thing he is supposed to be good at, he's not that good at, which is stopping the run. He's not very gap sound. He doesn't have that lower body strength to hold up against double teams like Devon Godshaw does. He has a hard time shedding off tackles or blocks as a defensive tackle. So there's a lot of question marks also surrounding, Nathan Shepard, and John Ridgeway. But just because there are questions with them doesn't mean there's no less for our boy Bink also. But the question is, when he was featured on the offense in some offensive schemes last year, can he do more of the same? Because if he can, then that gives you some value, right? That takes some pressure off. Hell, that even takes pressure off Taysom to a certain degree. Because you can scheme out some trick plays to get Colin Saunders involved. It's not the first time someone start to use the defensive lineman as a fullback, run a route with the D tackle at the fullback position. It's not the first time. The Ravens have always done it. The Chargers did it last year. So it's very possible that Colin Saunders, Big Bink, can carve out a role in that similar manner. And if he does, then there's more value in keeping him here on the roster, trying to, make a home here. Now, granted, he didn't make any touchdown catches or anything like that, but he has that ability to make those moments happen when trick plays are called in the red zone or anything like that. Very, very possible. So we'll just have to see what comes of that situation. But I can't imagine as being anything good. Now, I said all those names in terms of the defensive line room, but there is one guy I left out intentionally because for me, there's no point in mentioning him. He's unofficially out the door at this point. Now, he believes himself to have found new life under this 3-4 outside linebacker scheme because he's done it during his time in Notre Dame. But is it too little too late? I believe so. And honestly, can we say Dennis Allen has some part in, has some part to play in the slow, painful development of him? Sure. But that's just equally parts him and not taking advantage of the opportunities he was given when he was on the field. That's why I believe he's going to be one of the first guys I call out when he's no longer on the roster come the start of week 1. And this guy is already in the contract year. They obviously didn't extend him. They didn't give him no additional option. Y'all know who it is. It's time to talk about Isaiah Foskey. Under Brandon Staley, is it new life or is it his last life for Isaiah Foskey and the Who Dat Nation? When he was drafted in the second round coming out of Notre Dame, his production in Notre Dame, we all thought was going to translate because he's currently one of the all-time sack leaders in Notre Dame's history. Illustrious history. We thought he's going to get at least similar production at the NFL level. Doesn't even happen that way. Now, there are some out there that speculate that this is another Zach Bond situation. Y'all know who Zach Bond is. He's the guy who was drafted in 2020 in the 3rd round, coming out of a 3-4 scheme out of Wisconsin as the pass rusher. He didn't really see the field as much with the Saints. He left for greener pastures with the Philadelphia Eagles. And then in his first year leaving the team, he becomes the first team All-Pro. Some people think this is a similar situation because he's sitting behind so many people like Cam Jordan, Carl Granderson, like Chase Young now. I don't see it. I don't see it happening. There's a whole tape out there on Isaiah Foskey and what he doesn't do well. He has no pass rush plan. He has no gap integrity. It's painful. It is absolutely painful. And I am going to find that clip and we are going to watch it together. We're going to watch this together and understand what is the problem with Isaiah Foskey. Now, we're not going to watch the whole thing. Okay, we're not going to watch the whole thing. We're going to watch a couple of clips here and there and figure out why Isaiah Foskey is struggling with the New Orleans and give you guys a little bit of an idea of what's going on with our guy. and figure out why he's struggling so poorly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen here in a second after I get this downloaded and pulled up on my screen here. In the meantime, let's look at some of these comments and figure out what's going on, man. My boy Rose City. Look, Ro, what's good, my dog? It's so great to see you. My boy Rose City said, Foskey the Snowman. Look, man. I mean, look at this comment. Look at these comments, Foskey. If you're out there, just look. We have no faith in you, bro. We have no faith in you. Foskey is a second rounder on special teams. He is cooked. Look at this, man. Look at this. Foskey, if you ever come across this video, look at this. Look at this, man. You're a second rounder. You're supposed to be that dude. You're supposed to be that demon. But you deep fried. You right there. You right up there with Peyton Turner. Now, I love Peyton Turner. All right. I spoke with his mom a couple times during this rookie year. You know what I'm saying? I don't personally hate the guy. He's a cool guy. But as a player, he gave next to nothing. But hell, at least Peyton Turner flashed. You came and flash. Not even on special teams. What are you doing? Explain this to us, Foskey. Like, what is the issue? What issues do you have? Like, help us to understand what, like, is it a personal thing? Is it a confidence thing? Because this is not the same Foskey that we saw when he was wreaking havoc at Notre Dame. It's not. So right now, we're going to get to the bottom of this. Oh, yes, we are. We're going to find out what it is with Isaiah Foskey. So we're going to take a look at this here. We're going to find out right now what is going on with Isaiah Foskey. Now, this video is from Boot Crew. It's from Boot Crew Media. If you know who Boot Crew Media is, this is the same platform that Chris Rosvaglo. Forgive me if I butcher your name, my boy. I don't mean no disrespect. But over on Twitter, you guys will see Chris Rosvaglo. He not only talks about Saints, he talks about just movies in general. He works for Boot Crew Media. This is one of his coworkers doing a quick film review on Isaiah Foskey. We're going to watch a couple of clips here. We're going to note some things. We're going to get up out of here. But I'm not going to have y'all sit through a whole 13-minute segment and just make y'all just – it's a snooze fest, okay? Let's take a look at this first couple of minutes here.
Done nothing to contribute to the New Orleans Saints football team. Now, that may seem harsh, but it's just reality, right? Now, he hasn't gotten a ton of snaps in meaningful games. So on one hand, he really hasn't had a huge opportunity to show it, but at the same time, he has had enough, he's had chances, and when he gets those chances, he just looks really, really bad. I think last year he took 64 snaps, right, on the defensive side of the ball, not including special teams or anything like that. He had, I believe, 64 defensive snaps. So I went through, I watched every single one of them, analyzed every single one of them, and I tried to put together a few here just to go over, just to kind of show, why it's likely that we don't see a ton of Isaiah Foskey on Sundays. Now, the Saints got a completely new staff, completely new coaching staff, defensive staff. So maybe they can tap into some potential that he maybe once had. Who knows, right? Because the guy, if you look at his college career, he had the numbers. I believe he had 11 sacks the year before he was drafted and 11 sacks the year he was drafted. And he had like 20-something total sacks throughout his collegiate career. So he was productive at Notre Dame, right? And he also had a really good RAS score, really good athletic score. And we know the Saints like those athletic, big defensive linemen. But when you actually turn on the tape back when he was in college, he looked super, super stiff, right? He can't turn a corner, and he just doesn't look athletic despite what his athletic score says. That's why you just can't take it. You have to put everything together and not just look, oh, he's athletic. He must be athletic on the football field too when the pads and the lights are on, because that's just not the case with Isaiah Foskey, right? Now, again, maybe this new coaching staff can tap into something, but as of right now, he's had 2 seasons in the NFL and has not produced a single stat and only has like 25 career tackles.
Now, I want y'all to highlight what he just said. He was productive in Notre Dame. I mentioned that already, but it's the stiffness. When you watch him on the field, whether it be special teams or during late games where he's just subbing in just to run the timeout, the one thing you will always see with Isaiah Foskey is that he's stiff as hell. He has no plan. He has no pass rush plan. He gets hands in his chest and then he's screwed. He panics. I don't understand why. This wasn't like him during his time in Notre Dame. But we're going to get into why. We're going to go forward here real quick. All right, let's check this out, y'all. Let's see. This is the first one against Carolina in week 1.
All right, so let's get into it. Isaiah Foskey over here, number 55, of course, and a little bit of spoiler alert. He is just super stiff, man. He plays so stiff, and he plays just with no explosiveness, no play strength, no pop in his hands, nothing. It's just, it's easy to see. I know I sound so harsh, but it is easy to see why he just doesn't see the field most often, right? The majority of his snaps outside of a game against Kansas City, I think last year due to injury, the majority of his snaps came in garbage time, right? Just garbage time. This is in the week 1 blowout against the Panthers. And, you know, you can see him here over there on the left side of the screen. He just has nothing, right? Like, even when he's, you know, stunning inside like he is on this play, and he has the momentum of really a head start, you know, a full speed, steam ahead, he offers nothing, right? Like, he's stunning inside. He's running, you know, almost full speed, got a nice head start. You know, he gets hands on. And, I mean, check out the guard. Like, he doesn't even have to take one step back. Like, there's just nothing. He's offering no kind of explosiveness, no kind of pop in his hands, no real good technique. I mean, so he's playing like standing almost straight up, right? Just super stiff. I mean, you could see he stands almost straight up, right? So, like, the point of making contact, there's like, I mean, look, he's standing straight. There's just nothing there that he's offering the offensive lineman to, you know, threaten him in any way. Just super stiff and not really explosive. And there's a ton more clips here to kind of show the point that I'm trying to make. All right, next one here again. Lined up, head up over a tackle. He's going to end up going against the left guard. And once again, just really sloppy. All right, we're standing straight up, chest exposed. That gives the guard our chest. Guard makes contact, and then it's lights out. I mean, just there's no type of push in the pocket or anything from Foskey. There's nothing, right? And normally when you see a pass rush like this from the defensive line, you're going to see the lineman at least getting pushed back, you know, a yard, a couple inches at least, right? They're going to be pushed back a little bit until they find their ground, right? Until they hold their anchor. But, I mean, if you look over here at Foskey, there's just nothing. Look, his hands are on the outside. His chin is in the guy's, you know, neck. He's just, if anything, the guard is actually taking steps forward. Like, he's not getting penetrated at all, right? Like, look at the guard's feet, right? Boom, he makes contact, and then he doesn't get pushed back at all. He actually is able to take him up the field a little bit. I mean, if you compare that to, say, you know, 97 here, you know, he runs the center back. He's at least, you know, trying. You look over here at, was 91, right? He at least gives a fight, you know? Everybody else is fighting. And then we have Foskey over here who's just, you know, no kind of pop, no kind of explosiveness, super stiff, standing straight up, can't work off a block, and that's what you get. All right.
Man, that's just one of many examples. It's one of many examples. I can go all day with this footage. All day with this footage. It's embarrassing. This is a second rounder. This is one of those picks that set the Saints back by so many years. Whatever the scout department is doing, they need to change their philosophy up or change their coaching staff up. Figure out what's going on. Figure something out. Because this is not the only time that they've done this. They've done it with Peyton Turner, a guy who's raw, They done it with Marcus Davenport, the biggest blunder of them all. In the modern era, raw. They go for these raw guys. Christian Boyd out of UNI. Raw. I don't know what it is with Dennis Allen when he was here at that, because it's still like Dennis Allen era and early 2025 or early 2024, excuse me. He falls in love with these guys that got raw talent. He can put together a coaching staff that can bring out the best in them. Hasn't done that in a long time. It's infuriating. And I said Christian Boyd and Peyton Turner, with those guys, at least you can see, some glimmer of hope. I've seen more hope out of Christian Boyd, an undrafted guy, than Isaiah Foskey. Boyd's seen more snaps as a rookie, an undrafted rookie, than Isaiah Foskey in his second year, third year maybe. Embarrassing. No matter how difficult it is, you had the inside track being the top 50 being a top 2-round pick. And you can't take advantage of that no matter what the situation is. Now we all know who Cam Jordan was his rookie year. He wasn't all that great, sure. But he learned. He was willing to put in the work. He came into a new type of system. He barely had 1 sack in his rookie year. Since then, he took off. And he never looked back. Now he's known as one of the best defensive ends in the National Football League of all time. He's totaled over 120 sacks in his career now. I think it's 123 or 125, I would say max. And this is the guy that was the guy that's built to stop the run. A guy to stop the run. You were brought in as a guy to get at the football, to get the quarterback. Hell, last year alone, Cam didn't get his first sack last season till midway through the season against the Falcons. His first sack of the season. He still had more sacks than you. That don't make no type of sense at all. That's just embarrassing, man. It's just embarrassing. We're going to watch one more clip here. We're going to watch him against the Cleveland Browns here. It's a little more level competition because Cleveland's known for having a decent offensive line. Go watch this one against Cleveland, and then we're going to wrap it up here with the final thoughts on Isaiah Foskey because I don't want to watch too much of this. This is just, it's making me sick. And I don't want to put y'all through it because if it's making me sick, I know it's making y'all sick. All right, but let's check it out how he did against Cleveland.
His stiffness, right, and really his inability to bend, which was all over his college tape. He's stiff. He couldn't turn a corner. This is a really good example because it doesn't get any more perfectly set up than this rep right here to turn a corner and to show off some bend. So this is going against the Browns. He's over here in this wide 9 technique. He's lined up all the way out here, right? He has all this space between him and the tackle, right? And it's set up perfectly. You already have a tackle over here who's not the most athletic guy in the world, super big, not the fastest feet. And at this point, you're golden, man. Like, you have the tackle already has his shoulders turned towards you, right? Super short corner for you to turn, right? Essentially get a straight line path to the quarterback. And he does everything well, except you can see the lack of explosion, right? So here it is from the top. So, good, decent get off of the ball, right? I like the swipe right there of the hands. He misses because the offensive line retracts his hands. But I mean, at this point, man, that's as easy as it's ever going to get your path to the quarterback. Now the quarterback gets rid of it, so he probably wouldn't have made it there anyway. But you can see the lack of bend here. I mean, right there. That's as far as we can bend around the edge for Isaiah Foskey. And that's just, again, at the NFL level, not good enough. It allows your shoulder to be right there, still in place for that tackle to get that just enough of a piece of you to run you around the corner, right? Now, if he had just a little bit more bend, right at this point, he could dip that shoulder a little further towards the ground, right? And come right around that corner and get closer to that quarterback. Or if that quarterback didn't get rid of it so quick, maybe possibly a sack, right? Just if he had a little bit more bend here, he could escape this tackle and not let him get hands back on him, right? But, I mean, again, it's just the lack of the stiffness, right? It shows up time and time again. All right.
And that's all we're going to see of Isaiah Foskey in this manner, man. I think we all get the picture at this point. So, out of all the guys who have question marks on whether they'll make the roster or not, almost guaranteeing that Isaiah Foskey's done seen the last of the black and gold. It's just a matter of formality at this point. Now, obviously, we don't know what's going to happen. Maybe somehow, some way, Bo Davis can get him turned around. Brandon Staley in his 3-4 scheme might be able to do something for him and might be able to salvage him. Who knows? But it's going to be an uphill battle, a real uphill battle, which is why I say it might be the last life, the last chance for Isaiah Foskey. But it could also be new life. You know what I'm saying? This could be the thing that Isaiah Foskey needed. Maybe kind of like how Demario Davis needed a new scene coming from the New York Jets or Drew Brees from the Chargers. Now, obviously, nothing so grandstanding, right? Those are legends. This guy is not going to be close to being a Saints legend. At least he's going to be remembered for being a meme, like Austin Carr. Or maybe even Tommy Lee Lewis. You know what I'm saying? But I don't have a lot of hope for Isaiah Foskey. And neither does many people in the Who Dat Nation. Because no matter what situation, at the end of the day, he was a top two pick. He had an inside track. He didn't take advantage of the opportunities that were in front of him. Even in garbage time, he didn't impress. He made garbage time true to the word, garbage. Now, hopefully he's able to get his act together. Hopefully he was able to, show a little bit of something with Brandon Staley and Bo Davis as his new defensive line coach, who's known for, putting quality defensive linemen out on the field. Maybe he'll be able to do something. Maybe they can salvage him. Who knows? Remains to be seen in the coming weeks when they put the pads on, and we'll see how they act when physicality is ramped up. But for the time being, I have this guy being waived. Maybe if he's lucky enough, this guy will be on the practice squad. But for the life of me, I don't see this guy making the team. Fadil Diggs, a rookie 7th round pick out of Syracuse, has a better chance of making the roster than Isaiah Foskey. And none of us barely even know who Fadil Diggs is. But I know he had more production. He has some better skills, traits, talent than Isaiah Foskey when it comes to rushing the quarterback. I know he has a history with Fadil Diggs. I know he has a leadership pedigree. I know more about Fadil Diggs than I did about Isaiah Foskey. I think old rookie in 40 has a better chance than this dude wearing 55. That's where I'm at. I think that's where many of us are at. But look, man, with that being said, I was going to open up the phone lines, but it is getting kind of late, and I got to get to the missus. Tomorrow, I got work. I got to get my bed made up. I got to get everything done. Right? We're going on 2 hours now. Well, technically an hour and a half because the countdown was like 30 minutes. With that being said, we got way more content coming out now. I told y'all yesterday, Once we get this camera, we got the camera. Videos are going to start being pumped out with the quickness. You know what I mean? It's going to be a while. You know what I'm saying? I got some old footage that I'm going to have to sift through. You know, figure out which ones are a little more relevant at this point in 2025. Get those edited up and get them posted for you. But until I can get, you know, extra time to sit down here and do all this stuff, best believe these right here, these live streams, gonna be way more consistent. Now, seeing as I got work tomorrow, and I gotta be at the car shop tomorrow morning, I'm not gonna be able to do a live stream. But listen to me. Tuesday morning. Better yet, Wednesday morning. We're going to be back here. We're going to be talking more about the Saints, more about Kellen Moore and Brandon Staley and Bo Davis. We will talk about the rookies specifically. Time to talk about these rookies to see what each of them can bring to the table. Because there's more rookies that I didn't mention. Because they deserve their own little limelight. We're going to be addressing them on Wednesday morning at 9 o'clock. All right? 9 o'clock Central Time, which means 10 a.m. Eastern. We're going to be locked in right here, covering the Saints rookies, their time so far in New Orleans, what the expectations are, where they come from, what their play style is, all that good stuff. It's going to be a fun time. Put me on y'all radio. Put me on something. As y'all going into work, getting ready to get y'all day started, lock it in here, the BG Breakdown Podcast. I want to give a shout out to every single person that's in chat right now that showed up and showed out, from Slim South 504, my guy, the OG Jerry, my moderator, Rose City D. Good to see you, my man. Even some guys from across the NFC South, from Carolina Panther guy, CPG, Hurricane Mike. And 13 to 16 people that showed up. That's more than double than what we had yesterday. That's a blessing. That's a blessing right there. I thank y'all from the bottom of my heart. We're going to keep doing this up the right way. If y'all over on Facebook, check out the Facebook page at facebook.com/BNG Breakdown. Pretty soon, I'm going to have my Facebook page attached to my studio here. That way we can go live over there. If y'all over there, y'all don't want to have to come out the app, come over here on YouTube or Twitter/X and come check out the live. It's going to be attached to here real soon. As soon as I figure all that out. Right? But over there for the time being, that's where I make my posts and stuff. My official news posts. As always, y'all on Twitter, that's where I'm mainly at, just talking shop with everybody. Y'all over on Twitter. My personal Twitter is Dats Davis. Dats Davis. All right? Or just search up Who Dat Davis. I'm sure the algorithm already knows who I am at that point. Or if you're ever on the official BNG Breakdown Podcast Twitter page, go consider giving me a follow. Give us a follow over there. Let's get that like count up. I want to get to 20 likes or 20 follows. Get to 20 follows by the end of this week. If we can get to 50, all the better. So share the Twitter page around. We're going to be going live over there routinely. We'll be doing polls and everything else. It's going to be great, man. It's going to be great content, and I appreciate y'all. So lock back in here Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern. We talk about the Saints rookies, who my favorites are, what the expectations for them are. Until then, look, I appreciate y'all again. Thank y'all so much. As always, it's going to be just love, 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 and more love. Wednesday morning is going to be great. Let's be legendary, as a Saints legend Quan Alexander used to always say. Right, until next time, y'all know what it is. If you don't know, you will know it over here. We bleed black and gold until we are dead and cold. I'll see y'all Wednesday morning. Y'all be blessed.